Hey guys, welcome to another flight from South Fraser. We are at Newark Airport, and I have moved the aircraft just to this gate here, where the last couple of flights from real life flights from Newark have departed. So it's basically a continuation on from that London Heathrow flight that I did. So it's basically everything is all as it was when I ended the flight. So we will get the flight all underway and get this flight plan all set up. So we will go through the procedures once again and request a new flight plan, bring it up, and we'll get this all set up. Come into our init reference page, go to index, position, we'll just enter in the airport code, KEWR, and go to our route, request this new flight plan, select our payload, fuel, just showing you guys how easy it is to set up these flights to fly this aircraft. Everything's all how PMDG have done it. Everything's all pretty much all like automated, which is really good. So just going to reset all of our checklists, and we'll just go through and make sure, go and redo of our checklists again. Just make sure all these routes in there, that looks all pretty legit. So we're going to activate our flight plan, execute. We'll just come into here and select our 0 fuel weight, and we'll just accept that. We'll just make sure what our initial cruise altitude is. Oh, it's going to be 35,000, so we can just select 35, just update that. I have to accept it first, and then we can reselect our cruising altitude, our initial cruising altitude. And then we'll go into our leaks page and we will load up the wind data. Execute. VNAV, we can go to forecasts and load up our descent. And we'll request our flight plan and we'll find out which runway we're going to be taking off from. Zero 4 left, Devil 1, execute. Now we're going to enter in our takeoff data. Yeah, that looks all good. Calculate. Sweet, takeoff 1, and it's just going to be takeoff in 43. So go to our thrust limitation page. So it's just going to be takeoff, isn't it? Takeoff. Yeah, and 43 is our, I guess you call it flex temp. Takeoff, I'll just enter in our wind, which is 20/10. And just to double check, that's flaps 5. Enter in the winds like so. Get our trim, so that's going to be 5.75, and our takeoff speed's going to be 164. And we'll select our cruise altitude, our initial one, which is going to be 35,000 feet. And we'll just make sure our departure runway is the heading is, yep, that's already been preset. We'll turn on our flight director so they're ready to go. And we are pretty much ready for our pushback. So I'm just going to select my departure, which is that Devil 1. So basically we're going to be taking off, and then we're going to be at 4 nautical miles. We start our turn out heading 290, so that's what we will be doing. Yeah, that looks good enough for me, so just double check that. So 4 nautical miles, we start our turn out. And then hopefully we'll just get vectors from ATC to our, or direct to our flight plan. Right, now what do we need to do? We need to just come into here and request pushback. Turn on all of these switches. And we don't need the external power, so we'll get rid of that. Make sure all of our doors are armed. Remove the chocks. Right, set our trim while we're here. .75, so that will be just in there. That's done. We'll turn on our beaker light. turn on our engines while we're here. Right, we'll get our taxi lights all set and ready while we wait for the engines to start, and we'll request taxi clearance. Oh, while we're here we better arm the emergency lights. I'll start the final engine, and we can basically go through this checklist. I'll just select flaps 5, set our auto brake to reject a takeoff, go through this, clear all these. While we're at it, we'll just make sure our flight controls are set. I might just add a bit more trim. That looks good. 5.75 is what we need. And we'll release our handbrake, our parking brake, and we can now start our taxi. Just touching that 787 there. I'm sure that 787 should be parked a bit further up there in real life. Alright, we'll taxi on out of this very resource hungry airport, eh? And while we're here, we'll just arm the LNAV and the VNAV. Actually, we'll just go VNAV because we actually know we'll go LNAV, but we'll probably get vectors, I do believe. But yeah, if you're considering getting the PMG 777, if you're one of those folks who feel like you have to go through the Cessna and stuff like that, I reckon you just go straight onto this. It's very easy, and if you really want to do, if you have no interest in doing VFR flying and stuff like that, and you just want to jump straight into it, everything's all quite well automated for you to get going and start doing all of these routes like you're a real world pilot. If you just want to simulate doing that. But yeah, this laptop definitely is struggling a wee bit here. When I reset the game, I might need to just adjust the the settings a bit more, just to, especially flying these long haul aircraft, you don't need all of the graphic settings at high, which I don't really have high set to high, but I can definitely readjust them, and I do hope one day we'll get this 767 in the game. I believe the creators that are making the 757 are going to do the 767, which would be awesome. They are becoming a very rare aircraft in the passenger jet world, but they're becoming quite common now in the in the freight world, especially with the older aircraft being retired, like the Airbus A300s. Oh, and while I remember, because I saw it on the dashboard, we'll just turn off the APU. Cabin is ready, and we are ready too. We just need to get to our runway, and yeah. And we'll see how we go about taking off, because it might be a bit slow resource wise, but we'll find out how it goes. Right, we'll set the weather radar to on. We don't need the terrain. We can now select this to TRRA, whatever I think that's what it's called. Oh, I'm not too sure what's happening with that plane there. It's lost its way by the looks of it. Alright, we'll just hold there. There you go, it's found its way. Right, we might as well just get lined up with that aircraft. I think it's departed now, so we'll start our lineup. In real life, I think they'll just get them lined up. So we're just going to line up. Right, let's go folks, let's get going.
V1.
It's a nice view watching it take off like that, but I'll better get it back. Actually, I'm just going to go straight into autopilot mode. Just enjoy the takeoff. You can sort of see where the resources get chewed up. But once you're in the air, I think it rights itself. It starts getting rid of all of these different things that it doesn't need. Flaps can now come up. Right, we'll see what ATC does. But we're well and truly on our climb, so we can now turn on these anti-ice to auto. Once we get above 10,000 feet, we'll turn off everything else. What we can do is we can turn off our taxi lights, because we don't need those anymore. Cool, and now that's just given us our direct, so we're just going to go to legs page and go direct to Alva, just like that. Execute. And we're heading on out. And what we'll do while we're here, we'll just set set our step climbs, see what they are, and we'll get that all set up. So VOD vocab is going to be 37,000 feet. .370 step. Next is going to be eSimi. Oh, where's eSimi? We must have gone past it. Here it is. 390. Oh. Step. And our last one is MOVAB. We're going to be going back down to 38,000. 380 step. Mulav. Oh, that's right. I must have pushed the M instead of the S. Execute. So that's all of our step climbs all set. We'll just go outside and ooh, it looks a bit warped there. Go outside and enjoy the view. And we've got our clearance to go straight up to. So set it to standard, and we can now, flaps are up, aren't they? Here, everything's all up. We can now turn off the passenger sign, turn off the landing lights, turn off the logo lights, and we will get it set up for a nice view for you guys, and we will see you when we are coming in for our descent. Welcome back, folks. We've just started our approach into Sao Paulo, and I hope you guys enjoyed the scenery on the way. Just setting my minimums. As you can see, it looks like quite a fair day out there, so we probably don't need to do the Cat 2 or Cat 3 approach, so we'll just do the normal RLS. Wrong one. This is one I should be adjusting, just setting it to 2691, because I think we are basically, oh no, we're Cat D, so I'll set that to 2651. I think at the top of my head Cat E is like for the big 747-800s or the A380s, and I believe we're a Cat D. The 7, well, at least definitely the 777-200ER is a Cat D. So 2651. Yes, it's definitely not a murky day here in Sao Paulo. It's, even though we are still a wee way from the airport itself. Alright, what we can do is we can go through that checklist and make sure we tick off all the corresponding requirements. Auto brake, so we've got it set for auto brake 3. I'm just having a look at Google Maps just to see which exit I want to take. Yeah, I sort of want to take, ideally I'll take that, yeah, 2 rapid exit speed, so that one sort of sits, auto brake 3 sort of sits between those 2 rapid speed taxiways, so we'll take that one, and we will, so auto brake's done, landing, all approach briefing. We haven't got our altimeters done yet, so we'll wait for that, but we will definitely set our reference speed into here like so. Once again we will do flaps 25, I reckon. That seems quite reasonable. Everything's all set in there. We can now turn on our landing lights. We'll turn on our taxiway lights, get them ready. Logo lights can come on. Seatbelt signs can also come on. Everything else stays as it is until we are coming in for our approach. And we'll just scroll that down to the next notch, and we might as well use the terrain now. We don't need the weather radar as such. I think in real life they would probably keep it on for wind shears, but we don't have the luxury with this, with the current, as you guys know, with the current weather radar implementation in the game. It only shows precipitation and not the wind shears. Alright, we are definitely coming up for our approach. Oh, let's quickly set this to 6,000. And our QNH is 1019, so we'll set 1019. That's really far down, so I'll quickly scroll that up. Oh, now it's going all over the place. Alright, that looks good. We'll get our... I'll just release some speed brakes just to pull it down a bit. But 4.1 is our... should be our next altitude that ATC will give us. Alright, put the speed brakes back up again and get them armed. Always a good habit to keep them armed, so you never know when you... there are times you just simply forget. Looks like we should be below that cloud. I might just check the weather forecast just to make sure that the clouds are above the actually we might need to use we might need Cat 3 just in case. Yeah, we'll go with radios. We'll set that to 100 like so. Go back to this, see what our next altitude is. So hasn't been given yet, but we'll just set ourselves up just for a bit of
2500.
Just in case ATC a bit slow. We have been given our altimeters, so we'll just go to the next page. I do love flying the 7, like the PGM aircraft, especially the 777 family. They just are so smooth, so nice to fly. I really do enjoy flying these aircraft. In the game, of course, because I'm not a real-world pilot. But it's always a pleasure flying these aircraft. Everything just seems so smooth and so, you know. Alright, we should probably look at, put the next lot of flaps down. Looks like it's a few speed restrictions. It's to 170 through here, so alright, we're cleared if we can arm the localizer. Then once that gets within that stage, that diamond there, we can then set our approach. And I think we can... we'll just wait for it to come down a bit more. Now we will arm the approach. And how far are we? Yeah, we can start configuring our aircraft for landing. Set our final speed of 242. Yeah, it is a very foggy day, so we definitely do need the Cat 3, Cat 2 approach. Sweet, that's all set. And we can now just carry on with our approach. Actually, we will set our go around altitude of 6,000. We can now turn this one down a notch so we don't get any warnings. Otherwise the ground radar just picks up everything on the ground, which we sort of don't want. Right, we will now, we've got visual now, we can turn off the autopilot, turn off the auto throttle, and do this ourselves.
1,000.
And it just feels a lot smoother here flying into Sao Paulo than it did in the resource hungry New York. Just put a bit more throttle in just to get that speed up a bit. I've got a good feeling this one's going to be a lot smoother than our previous landing.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
This is a lot better landing than our previous one.
30, 20.
Idle
10.
throttle now. And touchdown. And I have to say that was one of my better landings. Now we can just disarm the auto brake, turn that off, and now we can exit at this next high speed. And here we are, we've arrived at Sao Paulo Airport in Brazil. Flaps can now come up. Alright, we'll come up here, we'll turn on the APU, get that going. Can turn off the strobe light, landing lights can come off. Now I'm guessing we just cross over the runway here. Yep, I think that's good. And we'll just turn our transponder down onto just the transponder setting. Right, what else do we need to do? We'll turn off these turn off lights. We can send the crew out to disarm the doors, get it all ready for when we arrive. And we could might as well open up the window while we're here. Get some fresh air in, it's been a long flight. Clean out the cockpit smell. And just remember your turning speed should be below 10 degrees. And give it a bit of oversteer, overshoot the center line there, and then you turn around and you should be bang on, just like that. And I'll just go ahead and clear these warning things, and that is us. Just taxiing back to our parking bay, and That has been a relatively good flight. And we'll just reset the flight directors, turn them off and on again. And yeah, I think that's all I need to do for that. Oh, and we're going to take this taxiway here, get that down to below 10. And this is a relatively wide one, so we can just sort of follow it through. Never seen that airline before. What airline is that? It looks like a cargo plane anyway. Interesting. Because we're a nice big heavy aircraft, we'll just take this middle taxiway here. And it's going to be this gate here, 602. Right, our taxi lights can now come off. Swing her around. Try not to lock up the nose wheel too much. Stop right here. Right, that's our flight completed. I'm just going to shut down the aircraft, turn off our transponder, come up here and turn off the beacon light can now come off, seat belts can now come off. We can now get that jetway connected up if it's a working one. Looks like it is. Perfect. And we'll just turn off the anti-ice, turn off these hydraulics. Fuel pumps can all come off. Turn off the emergency exit. And we'll come over here and we'll connect up the aircraft. And we'll just select all these because it's not so resource heavy airport this. And we'll go outside and we'll give it a nice nice atmosphere out there. So that is, everything is all sorted now. We can now go outside, and yeah, that's our flight, folks. Thank you for coming along once again, and that concludes this little two-part series with this United Airlines, the old, not retro livery, but one of the older liveries, the old gunmetal grey. I think the next time I fly United Airlines I'd go back to the current livery, but yeah, thanks heaps for coming along with that flight, and we'll see you again shortly.